Hi guys, my name is Rohit Kevlani and today we are going to understand and touch a topic which will make us understand about the things in our day-to-day life, in our surroundings more deeply. We can connect with the things what we see in our surroundings more deeply after understanding this topic. So what is this topic? So today we are going to understand what metals and non-metals are. So before understanding metals and non-metals, I assume that we already understand what elements are. What is meant by elements? I will still give you a brief. Elements are the simplest forms of matters on the earth which cannot be further divided into simpler substances. This is the definition of elements. We will not go further deep into this. So let's take some examples: carbon, phosphorus, iron, aluminium, sodium, potassium. All these are elements. I assume that we all understand elements very well. So we know that there are total 118 elements on the earth, and out of this 118 elements, every element has some different properties. Some elements have properties similar to each other, and some elements have properties different to each other. All elements are obviously not same. So based on these differences or similarities in the properties, all the elements are divided into two major groups. Here comes our topic: metals and non-metals. Let's have a simple question. Why all these elements, 118 elements, are divided into these two groups? What is the requirement? It is a very simple answer. Categorization or differentiation or division has a very important role in our life. It makes the understanding of these topics, or it makes the understanding of different things or similar things very easy. Let's take a simple example. When we go to the mall, any mall, there are a lot of different commodities being sold there. But different commodities are not being sold at the same stores. The commodities similar to each other are sold in a same store, and the commodities which are different to each other are sold in different places, in different zones. For example, if we have to buy food, we will go to the food zone. If we have to buy clothes, we will go to the clothing zone. If we have to buy jewelry, we will go to the jewelry store. So categorization of the commodities means categorization of the shops makes it easy for us to find out different things, to find out things which are different to each other, and to find out things which are similar to each other. The same logic applies here. All the elements which have properties similar to each other are kept in a different category, are kept in the same category, and all the elements which have properties different to each other are kept in different categories. Total there are two categories: metals and non-metals. So now let's directly jump onto our main topic. What are metals and non-metals? Let's define metals and non-metals directly. So first of all, what are metals? Metals and non-metals are differentiated according to their unique characteristic properties. So metals have some unique characteristic properties. The first one is all the elements which conduct heat and electricity are classified as metals. All the elements which conduct heat and electricity are known as metals. Means all the metals which we see generally in our day-to-day life. Let's take an example of iron, aluminium. The most common example is of copper electric wires which we see in our houses. Copper conducts electricity, iron conducts electricity, as well as they conduct heat as well. The example of conduction of heat can be seen in our utensils. All the utensils are made up of metals and they conduct heat very well. So the first defining properties of metals is they conduct heat and electricity. The second defining properties of metals and non-metals are, metals are, all the metals are malleable and ductile. Out of this 118 elements, many elements were found that on hammering, the first property is malleable. What is meant by malleable? Many elements were found that they can be converted into thin sheets, either upon hammering or by any factory process or whatever. But they can be converted into thin sheets. So they are called as malleable. Take an example of iron sheet, stainless steel sheet. All these metals can be converted into thin sheets. The another property is being ductile. One more common example is of copper wires in our houses. Copper is a metal and it can be converted into thin wires. So all the metals have this property of being ductile. I mean, they can be stretched or pulled, or by any other process they can be converted into thin wires. Now, apart from these defining properties, there are some more properties which metals show. The first one is metals are generally shiny. All the metals, for example, iron, gold, especially gold, platinum, copper, silver, all these metals shine, means they are lustrous, obviously. The second one is they are generally strong, they are generally hard, and they are sonorous. What does this sonorous mean? It is a very simple meaning. Let's take an example of a bell which we generally hit by hand. So upon hitting, metals generally produce a ringing sound. We can take another example of our utensils in the kitchen. If we hit any utensil, it will produce a ringing sound. So this production of ringing sound is called as being sonorous. All the metals are sonorous in nature. That means they produce ringing sound. Now we will take some examples, but first of all define now what non-metals are. Non-metals have exactly opposite properties to that of the metals. Means if metals conduct heat and electricity, non-metals don't conduct heat and electricity. For example, carbon is a non-metal, I hope you know. Carbon doesn't conduct heat and electricity. Although there are exceptions of diamond and graphite, we will discuss later. But let's take another example of oxygen, hydrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, chlorine, bromine. All these non-metals don't conduct heat and electricity.